This video's made for adult collectors because man, I love playing video games. Adding purple to a transformer just kind of makes it feel a bit better to me, and I'm not the biggest fan of purple. It's a cool color, but like, I don't really do much with purple outside of Transformers. But when it comes to Transformers, purple just kind of hits. Seekers, Armada Galvatron, Motormaster, etc. And yeah, I really liked Gamer Edition Starscream, but Skywarp came in and oh my goodness, he looks a lot nicer. But it's also not just the purple, but we'll get to that. This is Skywarp from Transformers Gamer Edition, the next figure in the video game lineup. And there are only two color things I don't really like. Otherwise, this to me is so much better looking than Starscream. Those two things though are the shins, which I wish had colored to like pick out those bits in the middle. They're supposed to be silvery, I think. And the cockpit. It's a bit too wide still, and they did sculpt the rest of the fuselage onto the cockpit, but they didn't paint it. I assume it's because of the small curves and the rubbery plastic and all that, but like, if they did that, it would look a lot less wide and a lot more accurate. I do hope Toy Hack stickers those, please. Please, you didn't do it on Starscream, and while that set's very nice, I do hope that you do the shins and the cockpit for Skywarp. That would fix this right up. Anyway, away from stickers and back to the toy. Like I said, I love the purple, but I also really like this darker color, bordering on black, but it isn't black, like fully. It's actually like a blackish brown? Brown, what? Me? I'm kidding. Jokes aside, I'm brown, I have to make that comparison. Jokes aside, it's a shade of like blackish brown, similar to the Last Night Hot Rod, though it works a lot better here than it did on Hot Rod, especially with that purple. Like, it did work on Hot Rod, but not as well as I would have liked, because in the film, the car is a lot more glossy than the toy was, but here, because the War for Cybertron designs are dark and matte and flat and, well, 2010 video game graphics, it fits that a lot more than it would have fit Hot Rod. But it is like a black with drops of copper or bronze to make it look like this sort of shiny or brown. I didn't notice it was brown until I got it in hand, and I thought it was black the entire time. But it does look nice. And just like Starscream, he cleans up quite well. There's nothing unnecessary hanging off the back. In fact, it's all around just nice. There aren't really that many exposed hollowy bits on the back. There are some, but not as much as you'd think. So they did a good job there. And just like Starscream, he comes with a mace. It's very cool. It is almost exactly the same as Starscream's, minus the color under the silver on the handle. And he comes with a rocket pod, which mounts underneath the arm. Why? Well, there really isn't much room to have it pegged somewhere else onto the rocket without it looking inaccurate, because either you have to cut into the exhaust ports on the back, which then means they look weird and he loses his elbow bend because of how long they are, or you peg it into the other side with the little hinge thing sticking out, which is supposed to be on the side, so it would look weird. I'm okay with how it mounts, but I know some people don't like it, which is fine. Starscream was also pretty good at posing, and Skywarp is just as good. So much like Starscream, it's pretty much the same, but if you've never experienced that, the articulation is quite good on this thing, except for a couple areas. So the head is on a ball joint. It can rotate, he can look left and right. You can get a little bit of tilt. However, he can look up really far. So you can get some really nice flying poses out of him because there's like a dedicated cut back there for that to go up. It does push the backpack a little bit, but like, you can get it to go up and the backpack's not gonna flop. So that's nice. The shoulders, they can do a full 360, they can go in and out. You have bicep rotation, you have double jointed elbows, and you have wrist rotation. Now, the first big problem I have is the mace. If I put it in his arm, it's a little like heavy for it, and so like it just sort of, yeah, the mace, because this is one big solid chunk of like soft plastic that it weighs a lot, and the arms just can't really support it that much. They can support literally anything else. If I put this in his hand, like that's fine. But if I put the mace in his hand, it'll flop if you tap it lightly. This arm also has the detachment thing, and it
It's pretty solid on Skywarp, so it's not gonna like come off when you don't want it to. The other big problem I have is just, again, the waist joint. It only goes that far. I wish it could go, I got a shot. I wish it could go a little bit further, but I mean, it does what it needs to do. I just wish a tiny bit more would have been nice. The hips, they can go all the way up. They can go all the way back. They can go in and out. You have thigh rotation, though it does get blocked by the sculpt going this way, so that's as far inward as it rotates. You have 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then the ankles can pivot. And then you have toe down if you want. So he is pretty posable. His knees do lock into place, but that's just because they have to be pegs there for transformation. But he's still quite nice, and I do really like it. Also, the wings, they can flap in and out. But when you do that, if you notice, it does unpeg the wing from the side here. So just, you know, be careful with that. Ah, it keeps coming undone. But yes, he's great and is about as solid as Starscream was. There really isn't that much of a difference other than this arm being a little bit loose when it comes to the mace. But yeah, I like it.
So yeah, I love this bot mode a lot more than Starscream. And his transformation is, well, it's exactly the same. But mine does have a bit of a hiccup.
Now, transforming this thing, just like the posing, is the same as Starscream. However, like I said, there's one hiccup, and that's in the arms. That's just on my Skywarp. It does not happen on my Starscream. So to start with, we're going to straighten out the legs, fold the feet in, flip out these little tail fins here, then open this section up, shift the leg upwards, and it will click into place, and then you close that panel up fully. The reason I don't close this panel up all the way right now is because you have to bend the knee to unpeg the knee to get it out. Because if you plug this in, then it's plugged into here and you might break it. So we'll get that out, then you peg that together, and that's the legs pretty much done. Very simple. Now with the back, we're going to straighten the wings out, and you're going to bring them out on this hinge here. There we go. Then you bring the whole backpack down. We're going to open this up, fold this section out, close it up, bring the wings around, and then fold the tail fins in. And that is the backpack done. Now we're going to take the chest section. We're going to rotate these in. We're going to take the head, bring it up. It's on a double hinge, and then rotate it 180 degrees. Then you open up the cockpit section and bring this whole thing out. Fold the cockpit section open, push the nose cone down, fold the head in. Now when you fold the head in, the head has to be sticking up like that, like it has to be facing up for the cockpit to close properly. Pay attention right here, because when I open it up and rotate the head the other way, it presses on it. You see that? So, and because this is rubber, because it doesn't snap during transformation, you don't want that to flex. So fold the head that way and then close it up, and you get that nice flush fit. Then this will come in and snap into place. Then we're going to take the arms on this double hinge here, swing them down, and this is where my problem happens. So you double hinge the elbows down, and they're going to peg into these little pegs right here. Now I can get one of them in, and then when it comes to getting the other one in, it never likes to line up, and I have to really force it in. Come on. There we go. And then they don't peg together well enough underneath. On Starscream, it's completely fine, but on my Skywarp, it seems to be having a teensy bit of issue. But then once you get all that figured out, you can slot the back section in, and that is your jet. It's a very simple transformation once you get the hang of it, and it stretches out the robot a lot. Like, he becomes a lot taller, and I love it. I think it's great. Like, look, he's taller than Bumblebee movie Skywarp. And it's about the same width. But yeah, I really enjoy doing that. It's just the arms here are a bit,
Yeah, this jet wins over Starscream. There is way more color on display here, and the way it's distributed is so much nicer to me. There aren't that many new details exposed, but that's what I like about the War for Cybertron designs, because they're just robot to robot in a jet formation, but it works well, and it does work well here. Weapon storage, it's poo, but like, that's just Transformers. Again, the blackish brown works. It just works. I dig this way more, obviously. And if you don't have this mold already, then this is a pretty worthy pickup to try this mold. I think it's great. And if you already have Starscream, I still think this is a worthy pickup. But that's been my look at Gamer Edition Skywarp. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.